review segment is sponsored by the Traffic T-Shirt Collection.
My name is RB Rutledge, and my job title is a clinical therapist. I'm owner of Integrated Counseling Solutions. A psychologist is a trained professional who is trained in the science of the mind, who treats conditions of the mind. And that's primarily what a psychologist is. Yes, it is definitely the process by which people disseminate information and the patterns that is derived there from the brain through a series of neural net functions which make up the way that we think and we rationalize. The greatest influence, I would say, of drivers in Arizona would be the systematic makeup of the city and the demographics that speak to the various amounts of people who operate motorized vehicles in our state. Arizona is what I consider a transient state, so that means we get individuals from many other states within the United States and territories. And we're all housed here, and a great deal of the populace, because of the vastness of the landmass, where people have to travel great distances, both to go to work, go to school, things of that nature, it necessitates them having an automobile or some form of motorized transportation. Well, I think individuals are motivated by positive impulses. But that's not to say that those impulses are positive in nature. It could be negative based on the situation or the circumstances. And when a person is faced with the prospect of the light turning red on them when they're driving, they're left with, there's individual thoughts that's going on at that time. Many individuals are, from the day-to-day situations, they're in a hurry. They don't want to wait. They see it as an inconvenience. And a lot of times they just simply want to get about their daily task without thinking very much about the circumstances. So running a red light, and it's not something that I think that they automatically have decided in the morning when they get up that they're going to do. But when faced with the situation, and they think that no one will get hurt or it won't cause any harm to anyone, they seem to have a self-proclaimed acceptance of it, and they do it in spite of the circumstances, thinking that it's going to yield them a more positive result. Or in other words, what I would call it, they forget about the fact that there's another red light just up the street from that one. Now, in terms of hitting a pedestrian, in most cases, it's simply a matter of human error. It's simply a matter of not focusing while one is driving, while they're operating the vehicle. You know, the circumstances could be sudden, and their failure to respond or to yield to the individual, the pedestrian, the right-of-way, a lot of time results in the pedestrian being struck by their vehicle. Absolutely it can. Vehicles, automobiles, being, especially those that are larger, SUVs, trucks, you know, and more mammoth-sized vehicles, gives one a sense of empowerment, and some people even feels a sense of entitlement. You know, there are many things that go through the human psyche, and a lot of times individuals who feel like they're stepped upon or they're overlooked, sometimes when they get in their vehicle, they feel like that levels the playing field for them, or they feel like that all of a sudden they get attention, and that they are in a position for once to be able to determine, call the shots or determine a destiny. In some cases, There are some individuals who, the whole driving experience empowers them. Because when you look out that windshield, on the window, the view of the world that you get is vastly different from the view that is inside of the car. When you're looking out, you're seeing all the things there, the road, the individuals. You feel like you're in control because you have the steering wheel that, you're holding, and you're steering the vehicle in the direction that you feel you want to go. Some people, they forget the awesome sense of responsibility that comes with sitting behind that wheel and steering that vehicle that weighs several thousand pounds in the proper way and in the proper direction. Absolutely there are. We live in a state also that is a tourist state and mecca for tourism. One of which tourist attractions is the Manzanita Speedway that we have here, which is the Indy race car track. And this draws thousands upon thousands of individuals and fans to the racing sport here in Arizona every year. And it becomes a virtual city that's full of individuals that are coming for no other purpose than to watch auto racing, the exhilaration of it, the speed, the force, seeing the cars power past one another's. And some of them, yes, even the crashes, of the vehicles flying through the air and tumbling. It gives them a sense of exhilaration. A lot of them, it perpetuates drinking. Some of them, they come, they drink, they enjoy the social aspect of it. It's almost like a celebration or a party or a passage, a pastime, a favorite pastime or way of life. If one thinks about it from a logical standpoint, or as we would call a psychological standpoint, it absolutely is confusing. You're giving the mind two separate sets of ideas, two different sets of propositions, and instructions. You're saying on the one hand that, do not drink alcohol and get behind the wheel of a motorized vehicle and drive. But yet at the same time, you're celebrating the individual's right of age, a rite of passage, and you're telling them when you become 21, live it up, party it up. If you want something to drink, or you want, whether it's casually or whether it's in excess, drink to your heart's content. You have to remember, especially among young people and teenagers, that's why the majority of a lot of automobile crashes and even some fatalities amongst teenagers, drinking and alcohol in most cases was the primary factor. Because of the messages that's sent, it is difficult for the brain to ascertain which function supersedes the other. And someone would think, well, can you do both? I find it very difficult for the brain to be able to be pulled in two separate directions, but to obtain the same result. That to me would cause what I consider to be a flaw in the midst of our processing and our neural net. And in some cases, it can cause people to be able to have a failure to differentiate the difference between what is right and proper and what is wrong and not proper.
There is one traffic injury every 25.6 minutes. Hours of Driving is hosted by Atilia Diaz. Tune in to Hours of Driving on Tuesdays at 7:30 and Saturdays at 3:30 p.m.